The weather during the past couple of months has been excellent for recovery and growth, not just of the eucalyptus. Check this out. The fragrance is just as amazing as its appearance. 6 of my eucalyptus trees were blown over by Storm Eowyn, and there's possibly another 3 or so that are leaning over. I knew which varieties would definitely recover. This might be a gunnii or a viminalis. As you can see, lots of new growth. Dalrai empliana, mountain gum. Very pleased to see this has new growth. I don't have many Dalrai empliana. Definitely gunnii. These sprout epicormic buds readily. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and more on the other side. 2 of the parvula blew over, and like the gunnii, these readily sprout from epicormic buds in the bark. So there's probably a good 20 or so new shoots now. Fantastic on both of these. What's been a surprise is that this Nitens has also got some new growth. In fairness, the Nitens that were blown over by Storm Bara in this area did make an effort to recover, to regenerate, but it was too early on in the season, and the new growth was burnt off by the cold winds, the gales. This one's doing a little bit better. I am hopeful. In comparison with the gunnii, Dalrai empliana, parvula, etc., the growth is very small. Still, it is growing. However, I am going to cut all these roots that have been pulled up so that I can have my pathway. I like this little pathway that runs around the back of the trees here and up and comes out at the end. So we'll just have to wait and see if this Nitens continues its recovery after I've pruned the roots and subjected it to even more shock. I wasn't under the impression that Nitens could be coppiced when I first planted them, although a recent comment suggested they could, and since this one and those from Storm Bara's windfall put out new growth from epicormic buds, it's a distinct possibility. What I am certain of is that parvula can be coppiced, Ernigera on the far side can be coppiced, glossines can be coppiced, all of the gunnii hedging that I have, hedging in inverted commas, it's growing to trees, can also be coppiced. And now's the time. You want to prune your eucalyptus after any possibility of frosts and cold winds. The forecast for the next couple of weeks anyway is very favourable. You do, however, want to prune them, cut them back early enough so that they can put on enough new growth and recover fully enough before next winter. So I'm going to get on with cutting these back. This first one is covered in flower buds, and I'm always keen to get what I term next generation indigenous seed, so I'm going to leave that one, but I'll take out the rest, cutting them back to about maybe 70 centimetres. I'm sure I'll edit out the less graceful sections of that. Generally, I'm really pleased. It might look like a disaster, like devastation at the moment, but I'm sure if you come back in 4 to 8 weeks, I'll be able to show you a nice, lush parvula screen hedging. I'm going to crack on and do the Arnigera, the Glossines. I'm also going to cut back these Perenniana spinning gum. I love these bluey purple flowers, fabulous. This is going to be my pond, and you can see the footprint here. Fingers crossed I get a chance to dig out more of it this year. I'm going to plant more Perenniana around the edges so that it won't be totally enclosed, but mostly. I'll be keeping these Perenniana plugs to fill in around the edge of the pond there. They're super healthy. I really have learnt a lot in the last 2-3 years. So any stock that I do have from now on will be super healthy and grow vigorously, weather dependent. Likewise, these gunnii, I'll cut these back to around 50-70 centimetres as well. I don't think I'm ever going to get a eucalyptus hedge per se. I think what will happen is in another 3 to 5 years it'll look like this, although for another year or two what I'm expecting is lush, thick, juvenile foliage. I do have a few people who buy foliage from me, and also during that time, during the next 1 to 2, maybe even 3 years, it'll provide thick screening privacy from the farm track, which is just up there. These gunnii were planted partly in response, well, mainly in response to Storm Hannah, which blew up the gap between the houses. It was a northerly and it blew through and blew down my polytunnels, or blew the covers off them. Initially I did keep pruning these back, though the gunnii, all eucalyptus, just want to grow. So as I say, I don't think I'm ever going to get a eucalyptus hedge. What I think will happen when I cut these back again 50-70 centimetres is, or the expectation is, 2-3 years of thick lush juvenile foliage, and then it'll turn into this spiky stuff as the top growth takes over. It's going to be a busy week for me, clearing up all this brash, cutting down the rest of this hedging. I'm actually expecting to get a reasonable amount of firewood out of it, certainly a couple of weeks worth. They may be thin and small, some of them not so thin, but they're numerous. I'll make a short video of how I go about clearing up all this brash. A bill hook is a really useful tool, as is a lawnmower. Anyway, do come back and see how it's all progressing, see just how quickly these eucalyptus regenerate. Thanks for taking the time meantime.